Toastmasters for Leaders speaker, Kathleen Lubin. Delegate to empower.
How many of you would like to perform better as leaders? And how many of you have unlimited time? How many have unlimited energy? Of course not. So as leaders, we rely on other people to help us to achieve our goals. We can't do it all. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, delegation is one of the most important skills a leader can have. And what is delegation? It is the process of transferring the responsibility of a specific activity from one person to another and empowering the individual to accomplish the specific goal. So in Toastmasters, we have a president. The president delegates the responsibilities to the board members. And the meeting roles are delegated to the members, such as Toastmaster or Evaluator. Now, John Maxwell, the leadership expert, says that all leaders know how to delegate. However, unfortunately, most fall into two extremes. One group holds on tightly to all the tasks, and they're not going to delegate unless they absolutely cannot do that task. They're not going to let go. The other extreme, the other side, is the leader that just dumps everything on an unsuspecting and unprepared team member. So you're either going to have burnout or a train wreck, and we don't want that. So we're going to talk today about how to delegate, how to be successful at delegating. Now let's talk about why there are those extremes. There are barriers to delegation. Can everyone see? The first one is confidence or lack of confidence, and that's where the leader does not believe that the team member can accomplish the task. Next is control. There are leaders that just want to hang on to that control because that's their authority. They're not going to let go. There's a selfish leader, and in that case, the leader is thinks that if the project is successful, they want all the credit. They don't want to share the credit. So they're not going to delegate properly. Then there's insecurity. What if, this leader thinks, what if the project is so successful that I'm out of a job? What if the team member, surpasses me? And then reluctance. There's the reluctant leader, someone who's just reluctant or doesn't want to ask someone to take on additional responsibility. And in these cases, the leader's going to end up doing all the work, which limits their success, limits the number of people they can help, and they are not empowered. So Toastmasters teaches us that there are 5 steps in the delegation process. So we don't want to go to either of those extremes. We can follow these 5 steps. And I like to think of it as delegation management, okay? So the first step that Toastmasters teaches us is prioritize. This is so important. The leader needs to plan and needs to prioritize first before anything else. And in that way, can figure out which tasks can be delegated and which tasks have to be done by the leader. The next step is important, and this is to match the needs of the responsibility to the ability and availability of the team members. So in this case, we want to, as leaders, we want to make sure that the person delegated the task is knowledgeable, motivated, and able. So they have to be able to perform the task. They have to be interested in the task. If the team member doesn't have the same interest or does not want to accomplish the same goal as the leader, there may be a problem. And able. There could be a team member who is knowledgeable and motivated, however, just has so many other responsibilities that they're just not able to apply themselves. And so that would be a concern. With all these steps, it is time consuming, and it does take planning, as I said. So it's important not to shortchange this process and to take your time. The third step is to assign the responsibility. So here, we want to make sure that we're sitting down and talking to the team member. Make sure that the team member knows what resources are available. Identify if there's training that's needed to get the team member up to speed. Is there, identify exactly what needs to be done and what the results will look like if the task is accomplished. It's very important to take your time and explain all this to the team member. And when that's done, you move on to empowering and granting authority. And this is where you give the team member decision-making power. And again, it's important to explain exactly what's involved. So if there are resources, how would that be accessed? Or if there's a budget, perhaps the team member needs needs to be granted, the team member needs to know that if, say, they are spending more than $100, that they need to go to the leader for approval. And the final step is establish accountability. So this is the follow-up. And this, again, this step is important because there has to be monitoring of the task. The team members need to know that whatever they accomplish, or if they're having a struggle, that they can go to the leader for help and for feedback. And this will lead to success. As well as follow-up, we also need to recognize accomplishments. So when that's done, that's very encouraging to the team member as well as the rest of the team. So when you follow these steps and take the time, there are many benefits. The leader is empowered as well as the team member is empowered. And so some of the benefits that Toastmasters highlights is a more involved and empowered workforce, increased productivity and quality, reduced costs, more innovation, greater commitment from members. The more involved the team members are, the more they take ownership of the project, and the more creative they become. So you get synergy when everyone is working together. And I want to point out, this is the chart. Toastmasters has a chart with the benefits of belonging to a Toastmasters club. And I printed out a chart for all of you to look at. And I just want to mention that I was president of Daybreak Santa Clarita Toastmasters this year, and one of the best things I experienced was to watch the team members grow. what I realized early on was if we were not delegating as much as possible, we were really shortchanging the members. So as leaders in your Toastmasters Club, I would encourage you to make sure that you're delegating as much as possible. Make sure that people are changing roles and stepping up and pushing themselves, because that's where you're going to get the growth. If people are taking the same roles each meeting, they're not going to experience as much growth as possible. So just take a look here at participation in meeting roles. The benefit is improved leadership skills. There's an opportunity to conduct the meetings, and that leads to increased productivity. Opportunity to fulfill the officer roles leads to leadership growth, which could mean career advancement. Just better leaders. So as leaders, we are evaluated not only on our performance, but our team's performance as well. So as leaders, I would encourage you to develop your delegation skills, and you're likely to have a successful team. So I would like to close with a quote, and the quote is from General George Patton, from the United States Army officer, and he said, "Never tell people how to do things. Tell them what to do, and they will surprise you with their ingenuity." Madam Toastmaster?
Join us